but for some, yes, we are live with another episode edition conversation of Global Podcast Editors. My name is Stephanie, and I have notes today, so I don't forget anything. Yay! I am a podcast editor. I've been also podcasting since 2017, and I also write about podcasting in different spaces, including our newsletter over on Substack. We do this kind of live global podcast editor chat every 2 weeks over on, here on YouTube, the place that you're watching this. No kidding. It also is turned into a podcast, which is anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Just search for Global Podcast Editors. Thank you to Matsi Doppel of the Hainai podcast for our lovely logo, which she has created for us. This community exists in a few different places. Over on Substack is the newsletter. On YouTube here are these events, as well as some new tutorials and our latest Imposter Syndrome series that we started this week. We also have a private group over on LinkedIn and a newer Google email group, which is really hard to say, which will have instructions on how to join in the newsletter. It's a complicated, lovely process, but once you're in, you're in. And we're sharing jobs, advice, and cheering each other on in that space. There's probably something else I missed, but it's all in the newsletter. Let's go around and meet the editors that are joining us today. And if we were doing this clockwise, Becca, you're next.
Hi, I'm Becca Johnson. First of all, thank you, Steph, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming back.
Of course. I'm Becca. I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota in the States. I am an audio engineer and Hindenburg trainer, and I've been working on podcasts since 2013.
Fantastic. Charles?
Hi, I'm Charles Commins. I'm from the UK, near Manchester. I'm a podcast editor, producer, and presenter. I've been doing it since 2018. Freelance, but started in sort of radio back in 2003. Thanks for having me, Steph.
Thank you.
I'm Sam, and I edit audio for 15 years now, and mostly for film and TV, as a dialogue editor. And now I totally switched it to podcasts, so I'm a podcast editor.
Very cool. And can we do locations? Because I keep forgetting that, but it's a huge part of what we do. So let's go back the same way. Sam, where are you?
I'm in Curitiba, Brazil.
Charles?
I'm in Warrington, which is near Manchester, in between Manchester and Liverpool in the UK.
Okay. And Becca?
Minneapolis, Minnesota in the States.
Fantastic. And I'm an American over in Valencia, Spain. And I do apologize for my light issues. We're in a new Airbnb, and I'm trying to figure out how to not look like I am sick. So, growing pains. Anyway, I think that might work. Okay. So excuse the shadows. We also have a surprise. It's not a surprise, an announced surprise, I suppose. About halfway through, I'll be announcing how to win 3 months free premium subscription of the newsletter. So stick around for that. We'll do that about halfway through. Okay, we got to get to the nitty gritty of this because I don't know about you three, but I've been having some challenges lately. Let's see. Hey, Sam, would you mind going first with one challenge that you've had this past week? The look on your face when I said
that. No, it's like, it's not just the past week. As a dialogue editor, I've been an editor for all my career. So, and when I switched it to podcasts, my main issue is mastering and mixing, because I dealt with like top tier audio engineers and mixers and re-recording mixers, like real good. And now I have to do it all by myself. And yeah, I've been studying this and trying to better every week. So, but this is still my main issue.
So is the issue a technical issue on learning how to do that, or?
Yeah, like having to learn everything about it and master the plugins, or not master, but like everything for it to make the final product, right? So I was in the middle of the chain, and now I have to do things in the end of it. So yeah.
Okay. Becca and Charles, how did you all learn how to do this?
Sam, can I ask you what DAW you're using?
Pro Tools.
Pro Tools. Okay.
Yeah.
I so I went to school for audio production and engineering. I don't have that sort of math brain that is often required for the math part of engineering, right? So listen, I know that I do train for Hindenburg, but I've been singing their praises since I discovered them in 2012. That is, if you switched your DAW to Hindenburg, you will not have any of those issues. Like their sort of advertising is, it's like having an engineer built in. I feel you on the mixing and mastering side of it. That is what a nightmare. That's all taken away with Hindenburg. So that's how I do it. Very sincerely. This is not, I know I don't want to be like the douche canoe that's like pitching the DAW that I like people that pay me a little bit of money, but I really firmly believe in them. And so like for compression, it's one knob, turn it up. For voice profiler, push a button. For it auto levels everything, so you don't have to do any of the levels. I've gotten to the point, I was just saying this to the people at Hindenburg the other day, that when I use another DAW for like, if I'm mixing music, let's say for like a guided meditation, I don't know how to do everything. Mm-hmm. So I will do the music, export it, throw it into Hindi, and then put all my plugins and things on it, because I have gotten so dependent on how easy it is. Yeah. So you don't have to sit and spend many, many hours if you don't want to. But if you do, you're already using Pro Tools, it is excellent. But that's a lot of work. I don't envy you on that. So that's my sort of cheater workaround answer.
It was really helpful. I'll try to look at it, and it will help a lot.
Yeah.
It is hard, isn't it? Because you've got so many. I think part of the problem, not just with podcasting and editing, but everything, is that these days you can go onto YouTube, you can type in your question, and then you'll find 400 different people with 750 different answers. So, and not everything that is done on YouTube. So I love Mike Russell to bits, right? Absolutely love him to bits, and go and look at his YouTube channel all of the time to try and get answers to questions. But quite often when he'll say, I don't know, let's just say he's going through compression, just as an example, he'll go, so this is what we're doing, and he takes you through step by step, and you can see what he's doing in Audition, which is the DAW I use, and you can see therefore what's going on. And then he'll press play again, and you'll listen to it, and I just go, can't hear a difference. I don't know what you've done. It doesn't make so, because and that's not his fault, because it's just because of the way that it, YouTube takes a sound and uses it, so you don't get it. Unless I was sat in his studio with him, I would not hear the difference as clearly as he can in his own headphones. So the big problem is that you go to anyone on YouTube or anywhere, you'll get a different answer, but then you'll also maybe not quite understand it. I'm much more of a audio visual learner. So if I sit down and read, say, a Transom article that tells me how to do stuff, I have to click play on all of their things. In fact, I tend to do that rather than read the article in the first place. I'll read the sentence before the play button, so I know what it is I'm about to hear. But in terms of doing it and learning it, the only way that I've been able to do it is essentially, yes, I've used what other people have put online, but I then have to go and play with it myself. I am a big, massive believer that if you are a podcast editor, or you're a podcast producer or you work in podcasting, you should have a podcast. It doesn't have to be successful. It doesn't have to be #1 in Apple Podcasts or anywhere like that. But it's somewhere for you to be able to experiment with, obviously no pressure. No pressure from a client who's going to turn around and go, well, I'm not paying you because that was a terrible thing that you've just done. It's just for you and your audience, and therefore your audience should be able to understand that you use it as a tool for your own learning.
Do you know what? I'm going to get meta. And Becca, I hope you don't mind me talking about this, but the thing that, because I used Audacity and then I moved to Hindenburg, and I knew what I needed to do and I couldn't find it. And I hate watching those videos. Even with two screens, I was just like, this is so boring. It's either not fast enough or they skip steps and I don't know how to get to where they are. So I actually worked with Becca and she, I think in 3 or 4 sessions, got me up to where I was with Audacity and further, because I had started to do more of the like intro music and outro music fades and things that I wasn't doing that much of in Audacity. And I honestly think that one-on-one time, if you have paid clients and you can afford it and you can hire a tutor, I think that's really, really valuable. As far as the easy way to find them, I have no idea. But I'm guessing some of the Facebook groups that are DAW specific, like there's a Reaper specific, a Hindenburg specific. So maybe in there people are doing that. But I wish there was an easier resource to finding that, because I feel like that was the thing that got me the furthest in any DAW I've ever used. So yeah,
I appreciate that stuff. You were fun to work with, and honestly, you do have a really good ear, so it made it easy for us to work together. And you were excited. That's the other fun thing. But I benefit from one-on-one so much that I love doing that with people. I like that more than the workshops, actually.
Yeah.
Well, but because people get so much out of it. I know.
Yeah.
I love the workshops, Chris, so much. No, I do like the workshops, but the one-on-one is where people really will be like you, when you came to me with stuff and were like, I cannot figure this out. That's my favorite.
I wonder if that's what, sorry, you guys are making me think. I wonder if that's something we should build onto GPE as like a tutoring thingy. Oh gosh, never mind. I'm going to jot that down. We're going to continue on with the focus of this conversation. Anybody in the chat room that wants to ask questions, we will bring them into the chat. Absolutely, of course. And now that I have a YouTube consultant, she's going to remind me in my head to tell you to like and subscribe and hit the notification button, because I suck at saying all of those things. Okay, so thank you, Sam, for sharing that with us. I hope some of these suggestions are helpful for you.
Totally. Yeah.
All right. Becca Charles. Who wants to go next? Ah! Becca, you've been voluntold.
Yes, I got pointed at. I'll go. Well, Steph, do you know what I'm going to say? I don't know if you've been on. What's that?
Sorry, the last time you were on, it was a boundary issue, which I also have, but I don't know what you're going to say.
Well, last time I was on, we had touched on the fact that at some point we should talk about working with difficult clients that are, either divas or, say really offensive things. I really never, I don't work with. I have in the past. Sometimes somebody will throw me a show and say, I'm swamped or something's going on in my life. Can you please take this client? And I will be like, oh, dear God, I will help you out, but I don't want to work with this person on a regular basis. They're so offensive. Which leads me to this week. Steph and I are both in a group on Facebook for women and non-binary podcast editors. And I made a post that a lot of people have commented on, and a lot of the feedback. I was reluctant to make the post. It was regarding working with other people in the industry who might be anti-queer, might be anti-abortion, might be anti. in their private lives, but I would know this because they repeatedly say that they're Christians, look up their Facebook likes, find that they like Mike Huckabee or somebody who is notoriously anti everybody. And so I feel really bummed out that a lot of people that we know and love work so closely with a lot of men who sort of have these awful views. And so somebody in particular had a newsletter, and one Easter started his work sort of newsletter with something about how Easter is not just about candy and eggs and bunnies, referencing it's about Jesus, y'all. So I unsubscribed. And so I'm really sincerely at a place where I'm trying to figure out what feels good to me. And that's where I'm at. And I'm really just in discussion with people on this group. Everybody has said, most people are like, you know what? That's the beauty of freelance. You do not have to work with anybody you don't want to.
Exactly.
Everybody would say, "But he's such a nice guy," which nobody has said. But if it's anyway, that's really what I've been struggling with, to the point where I'm like, I wake up and I journal every morning. I have this whole morning routine that I do, and I've been like really putting a lot of my time and energy into really trying to get to the bottom of this and what I am going to do. And I think, well, are we just going to lay it all out on the table? I don't know who's going to see this and who's not.
Well, okay. So the issue,
I would not.
Yeah. Please don't, because that's
never.
Yeah, that's not good. But so the issue is it figuring out what they stand for, believe for, all that kind of thing before you agree to work with them, or once to say no because you don't want to?
It's very clear right away sometimes.
Okay.
And if you just go on some people's Facebook pages and look at their likes, that can be clear too. Yeah. I think that, where I'm sort of landing is there are so many people out there that are really rad and trying to sincerely uplift people and do the right thing and be a great human being. Listen, though, if you were to talk to people who are, on the complete other side of their, values as I am, they would say the exact same thing. And I understand that. So it's not about digging deep. It's about just really knowing, because they make it pretty apparent. So it's sort of who do I want to work with and support? Because by working with people, I'm saying I support you. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like how nobody likes to shop at Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
It's the same idea of like, but I need pencils. The pencils didn't do anything wrong. Well, but I know. Putting your money where your values are, sort of.
Yes.
That's been my struggle.
To be totally fair, the newsletter on Substack has its own issues with political views that I don't agree with, but a platform that makes my life a million times easier. And I didn't know about the political stuff until I got everything set up. So I'm having a little struggle with that too, but that's a different situation because it's not a person, right? It's an organization of platform that I'm using.
But that's run by people, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So it's not the organization that has those political issues; it's the people that run that program, run that software.
It's still in alignment though, because now I feel like I've made a huge mistake. But to shift is I'm diverting away from Becca's thing. So in the U.S.,
this is relevant. I think
in the U.S., I think it's the religious right that is. Am I assuming too much? But is it the religious right, the extreme religious right, folks that are really
Republican Christians that are very right now?
Yeah, it's not a problem when you have different ideas from someone, but when you try to control what they can do, it is. And I think that's a lot of push and pull in the U.S. right now. But we're a multi-country experience. So let me ask this, Sam or Charles: is there a group that you're not particularly comfortable working with, that you would say no to? A group, an individual, I don't know. What am I saying? Help.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much alongside Becca. Like, I'm completely. I mean, I am totally off all those groups of people, but I try to support them and
Mhm.
how I can. And I mean, everybody who like they don't even need to have those hate speech or anything, but if they don't support, like if they are against
Mhm.
somehow uh, women or LGBT, it's difficult to say it in English, sorry. uh, okay, you got me.
Yeah, you could, or you could say queer. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody who's not for all of them, there are. I don't like to work with them, but if it's still an issue for me because
Mhm.
I really need the money.
Mhm.
But thanks God, I don't have any clients like this. So yeah, it would be a really difficult decision to make. But I think I would not go with the money
Mhm.
because we are in a good position now, me and my family. So I think I could afford saying no to those
Yeah.
people. And yeah.
I think it's really it's a very personal question, isn't it? And it's a very
Mhm.
personal thing that you go with. I mean, look, judging by what everybody said, I think we're all pretty much of the same sort of persuasion, if you like, in terms of our way of thinking with this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
There's nothing in terms of the UK at the moment. There's nothing as huge as what's going on in the States at the moment, and what's with everything that's happened regarding the abortion laws and things like that that's going on. The closest that I can kind of come to it is with like media organizations, with outlets. I mean,
Mhm.
in the States, I know it is very much more clear, which media outlets support which, party or side of the political spectrum. In the UK, I think we are a lot more, although there's definitely people out there that will argue against me on here, but I think everything is much more centralized in the UK.
Yeah.
But there are still obviously towards the right and towards the left. And for me, the only way that I can answer this question, Becca, because it isn't as prevalent to me, is by going and saying, would I go and work for a media outlet like, say, the Daily Mail, which is
Mhm.
more conservative, more right, leaning towards the right than my political views are? And I think personally, because of the fact that and where they are much more being towards that central place, I would say yes, because they haven't done anything or said anything or supported anything so extreme that I would be able to turn around and
Mhm.
feel really bad about being there. Yes, I might get the mick taken out of me down the pub by other lefty friends and things
Yeah.
like that, but I wouldn't actually be anywhere where I would be feeling ashamed of either working for or supporting that kind of agenda or viewpoint.
Yeah. Yeah.
L-
Um,
Sorry,
A-
yeah.
Andrew in the chat room says all freelancers, small businesses tend to have to make. I can read. Tend to have to make hard choices. You have to decide who is acceptable as a client. At the end of the day, they have to meet your standards. In the UK, would not do anything with the sun on that front, Charles. Oh, that one's for you.
Oh yeah,
And-
no, yeah. So actually,
Yeah.
I'd be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Actually, with that.
And but there is the factor of needing to make a living, and that's where it gets hard. And Becca, let's come back to you because this is a lot of advice, but essentially this is about you. Why are you considering working with these folks that you're uncomfortable with? And not that religious folks are all bad. I do want to say that disclaimer. I work with folks of varying religions, and it's no big deal. But it's folks who are so strong that they kind of take over other people's ability to be themselves, I think. I don't know. Am I?
Yeah, the reason why this is so tricky is, I do have a hard and fast line with who I will work with and what shows I will work on. But the reason why this is a little murky is because it's sort of, there are a couple of people in the industry that are all over the place. And so it's hard. So let's say, for example, Steph, you might be one of these people. You are not at all. Let me be clear. Let's just say, but it's a situation like this where it would be like, do you want to be a guest on a show? Do you want to collaborate with somebody in the industry in this way or this way? It's about collaboration and sort of, but by collaborating or by showing up here, I'm saying I support Steph and I support global podcast editors. And I feel great about that. Now, if I show up on other people's shows or spaces, I feel that I'm saying the same thing. And so these are people, sort of colleagues that have been around for years that I just bump into all the time. And I happen to know that they are probably think that I'm a pervert and going to hell, honestly, for being queer. So it feels weird to sit down with somebody and be like, hey, let's talk about XYZ work stuff and, be kind to each other.
Yeah.
When really you're probably like thinking that, kind of some shady things about who I am.
Yeah. I think Max in the chat room sums it up for me. Being financially stable gives you the freedom to be choosy. Before you get to that point, you kind of have to be willing to put up with whoever you can get. And that is the sticky wicket with freelancers. When you work for a company, you can blame the company. Oh, they did this, or they think that, or, oh, I don't agree with that. Maybe I look for a new job. But when you work for yourself, all of those decisions are on you, and it's hard.
Can I disagree with what Max has said there?
Of course you can.
While I agree with his first sentence that being financially stable gives you more freedom, completely and utterly, but we still have values ourselves that are personal to us, and they are what makes us the people that we are. Now, if, just to take an example, if I was to, be starting out brand new and the only person that was coming to me right now at this second in time was somebody that agrees with what's happening in the States around abortion at the moment, heavily, and was like constantly pushing it, I would still say no. You still have a freedom to say no, because the fact is yes, okay, you might need to put food on the table, but there's other ways of going and doing that. There are other ways that you can go, and that you can still go and say no to people that do not fit with your values. And I would argue that you should do that, because if you take on a client, so let's say it's somebody that is completely anti, this is for the UK basically, but let's say it's Nigel Farage, somebody completely anti-immigration and, doesn't align with my views on that at all. If I took that, then straight away, I am in line with him. And that might then mean that I don't get work further down the line from other people that do align with my values, because all of a sudden, now people associate me with that. And I think you've got to be choosy, and you've got to push back on things that you don't want to do, whether it is because of a political persuasion of the client, or it's the content that they want you to help them make. Whatever it is personal to you. And you've got a freedom to make that choice, and you shouldn't have to give a reason for it either. You should just be able to go, not for me, thanks very much, see you later, have a good day, bye.
I think ultimately the word choice, ironically, or not ironically is the big one. It is a personal choice that we have to make, and that's it. Yeah, it's a hard one to sum up and say we got to move on now, but we're going to move on now. But I hope that's helped a little bit, Becca.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know we could spend a whole entire hour on how to
absolutely. Yeah,
how
No,
to
it's an interesting thing to think about, especially when
Yeah.
it is murky and they're not shoving it down your throat. And it's just
Exactly.
something you happen to have dug around enough to know. So
Yep. Like, they're thinking it, but they're
Yeah,
not saying it directly to
exactly.
you,
Yeah.
but it's there. It's so tricky.
Yeah.
Client attraction is very hard. What's the word I want to use? Client interpretation could be harder. I don't know. Okay, Charles, what do you have for us? What's your challenge?
God, after that, mine feels so insignificant.
Oh, wait, sorry. Andrew
is it
had
halfway?
one more thing. No, almost. Oh, it is actually. Yes, sorry. Charles, hold on to that for even longer. Andrew in the chat room said, don't beat yourself up for this. So Becca, I think that one's up for you. So yeah.
Thank you,
definitely.
Andrew.
And now, the new part of this. And editors, feel free to get up, stretch, move around, dance, and do what you need to do for a minute or two here. But I need to make a quick announcement. In the newsletter, I promised a giveaway to... I never get this right. Oh my gosh, wherever the logo is. That way. That way.
Yes.
The purple logo above my head. Oh my God. This is awful. Thank you for laughing. That I wish I intentionally did that wrong, but that was actually true. Spatialness. Right, there is a giveaway on the board. Anybody who watches this, I want to get the time frame right. Anybody who watches this video now, or because we are a multi-time zone experience, before, what did I say? Before July 10th at midnight in Cairo, Egypt. I'm just picking Cairo because I keep saying London and New York, and that's not very inclusive. So you can go to timeanddate.com and find out what midnight Sunday, July 10th is, and adjust that to your time zone, please. What do you need to do to get, because one person is going to win the subscription for 3 months of the premium version of the newsletter. 3 months! Folks, please. Okay, it's super quick. Here's what you need to do. Here, I'll do this for a sec. Oh, that didn't go well. I am messing this up. Oh my gosh. Okay, forget it. I'll keep everybody on here. Here's what you need to do. You need to, in 2 quick steps, create a social media post and email me the post so I know that you have done it, and you'll be eligible to win. One person is going to win. Here's what you need to put in the social media post. A screenshot of this video. Pick a moment that made you laugh or think or whatever. Just screenshot it. It doesn't have to be great. We don't all have to be smiling or anything like that, but just screenshot it. And write in the post a quick thing of what we're talking about. Like we're talking about difficult clients, or we're talking about learning a new DAW or something like that. So then you'll need to tag me. And I'm putting my handle on most social medias at Steph Fuccio. It's down here. I actually did that right, so that's magic. Link to the newsletter. So you need to actually put this link in there too. And I'm almost done here. So you need to put the link to the newsletter so people can find it. And that's it. Then you need to email me. And Steph Fuccio, same handle here at gmail.com is my email, with the subject line 3 months subscription over in the chat room. So again, social media post with the screenshot of us, explain what you're watching, what you were watching, tag me, link to the newsletter. Done. Then email me that link so I know that you did it, so that you're eligible to win. I will announce the winners in the July 15th newsletter next week. Okay, those are the 2 things that I interrupted Charles for. So we get to go on to his challenge. Dun, dun, dun. Charles, what are you struggling with lately?
So mine, it is, like I said before, it is so fluffy in comparison. But it's being creative with my clients' podcasts. So I'm not just a producer, not just an editor, rather, sorry. So therefore, a lot of what I do is also involved in the production side of things, and therefore the planning and things like that. But just like how I am quite audio and visual with learning, I struggle to explain what it is that I think we should do to make, to be a bit more creative, to make a person's podcast stand out. There's so many, isn't there? So I will go away and I will make my version to present to them as a bit of a, well, this is what you could have kind of thing. But at the same time, I'm having to do that while giving the client their version as well. So I'm ending up doing twice the work, if that makes sense, so that I can hopefully then go and improve it, make it better in the future. So
Can I stop you there?
Of course you can.
What do you do with your version then? If you're doing a version for you, a version for them, where do you put that?
So let's just say, for instance, we've got a one-to-one, head-to-head interview type podcast, which is when the client first comes to me and says, hey, I'd like you to be my editor, it is very much like static intro, episodic intro into the main content of the interview with an outro at the end. Goodbye. Obviously, that's what they're coming to me and they're saying, right, we just want you to do the editing. So removing all of the unwanted bits and any content errors and stuff like that. And I will go, okay, well, this is just the same as every other podcast that's available wherever you get your podcasts. Why would I listen to this in comparison? So I will obviously do that and do what they want, but I will also potentially go and take the audio that they've given me and then pull out a bunch of clips, maybe create that little montage at the beginning just to sort of show, look, you could do this to tease people. Or what I have done, and this is the thing that took me ages, and although I know it was a much better thing, I also knew it would mean a lot more work, not just for me, but for the actual podcaster themselves, which was that I went, right, I've taken out the content that was relevant to the discussion you were having, the answers that you were getting, and I've created a story around it that I've narrated pretending to be the client.
Wow.
So it now becomes more of a narrative, it's not a documentary, but, more of a narrative thing than just a head-to-head sit down in front of each other interview. And obviously that takes a lot of time and that takes a lot of work. So therefore my challenge has always been, because I want to help people make better podcasts.
Yeah.
And my job, I see as an editor stroke producer, isn't just to go and give them what they want, but give them something that they will actually need and that they will actually, will help them grow, will help, reach the audience they want to.
Yeah.
So, Andrew's put it much better and more succinctly than I have in the chat. But
he said what you're saying, Andrew said in the chat room, what you're saying is helping the client understand that there are options when it comes to presenting their info. Tricky. It is. And oh my God, Charles, can I piggyback off of yours and add my challenge on? Because it's so similar. It's so similar. Like I find when I pitch potential clients, whether it be on Facebook groups when somebody says, I need help or whatever, I'll look at their stuff first. And I'm like, okay, you're asking for this, but have you considered this? Because I find that most people don't know what they could do with their stuff. And I think it's similar to what you're saying, although I don't go and actually create it because I am ultimately way lazier than you. But seeing, especially when I get excited about the product that they have, the podcast that they have, I get carried away with the ideas, but then I also have to balance out the business side of it where like there's a time and financial aspect. So convincing them to want this thing that would help them and to pay for it is tricky.
That's the hard bit. That's the bit that, because I've done it where I've taken on a client and done just what they wanted for a few weeks. Yeah. And then at that point, I've then gone, you know what, this could be, I kind of get my foot in the door kind of thing, get them to trust me, get them to know that I'll do something good for them. And then present them with, or you could do this. And obviously some people will go, oh, that's amazing. Yeah, let's do it. And then I end up and I drop the massive £sign bomb or $sign bomb. Yeah. And they then go, oh.
Yeah.
But also there's that other thing of where they just go, and I've had it where people I've just given tiny little, or suggestions, and I get told to basically stay in your lane, just do what we're asking kind of thing. And that it stunts my creativity, and I then go,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. I want to be creative. So yeah, I suppose my challenge is how do we present that to a client and get them to say yes, which is the thing we want.
I have an idea, but I want to hear Becca and Sam as well. But okay, my quick idea is you might be outgrowing your clients and you might have to actually present that creative part, Charles, when you have your discovery calls so they know it's coming financially and otherwise. So they know that's part of who you are and what you do. But
Yeah.
Becca and Sam, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I was thinking like I don't know how you advertise if you do it at all, but like on social media or anything. Um, I don't know if you already do this, but like stating like I do creative podcasts, like so I do this or that, or even ask the clients you have had those ideas, and oh, can I, even if they didn't use this in their podcast, but if they allow you to do things and to show people what you can do, and like state that I do creative podcasts and something like this, maybe.
Yeah, so it's a messaging thing where they need to know at the beginning that you're that creative. Becca?
Yeah, what Sam and Steph said, it sounds like your ideal customer has shifted. Excuse me. So targeting ballers, targeting people who have the money and who are kind of like want to just throw it at you and be like, you do you. Finding those people, that's another whole set of, business school, really. But I think, those are my favorite clients too, where people will say, you do you, be as creative, take all the time in the world. Those don't happen very often. That's why I love working at guided meditations, because you can have so much fun and do all the music yourself and be really creative. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if you've gone that route too, but I get to be creative with meditations and things. But I'm sorry, my dogs are barking. So my other suggestion, I'm so sorry.
They just
Don't
agree
even
with
worry
you,
about
Becca.
it.
Yeah,
That's
Keep
what it is,
going.
they're agreeing.
It's fine. Keep going.
My other suggestion was, instead of personalizing each example, what if you just had a page on your website that's, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, so you've done all this work and that's great.
Mhm.
And if you could just sort of categorize them somehow so that you have 10 examples. So the next time you have a client, you can pull up the website and say, have a look at this, sort of like you were talking about Transom and how
Mhm.
they do the sort of, like let's mic differences, but they'll explain each one. And then you
Mhm.
click on the thing and you listen to it.
Yeah, it's something that because literally yesterday I was talking to somebody that I work with in my co-work space, and they were saying, "Oh, how do you present what I do on a website? Because obviously, as editors, it's audio, isn't it? Whereas websites are visual." And I kind of went, "Oh, you know what?" And I'm building up my voiceover side of my business as well, and with that, you have a show reel. And it's like an important thing to have as a voiceover, is having a show reel. And I went, should probably have a show reel for my podcast side of things that literally just showcases what I do in, say, a 2-minute, easily on the homepage, on the front page. This is what I do. This is how I work, kind of thing. And yeah, I suppose in a way I could then go, right, here's a show reel of stuff I've done, and here's a show reel of stuff I can do as a separate kind of thing. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I'm doing more like the boundaries between me, the podcast creator, me, the podcast editor, and me, the podcast writer, they're starting to blur a lot. And so in my monthly report for a client this week, I was like, look, I'm doing a lot more with YouTube. I'm actually I've got a consultant for my own YouTube channel, and I'm doing all this stuff because organic has never worked for me. So I'm doing more methodical, which is not my natural vein, but so be it. And I said, but I'm going to do more like editing videos online, like showing people stuff. And I said, I don't want to deal with your clients because that's a whole layer of permissions and stuff. But if you ever are interested in like free publicity, I could take like the intros that I'm editing of yours. And as I'm talking through what I'm doing, you're basically getting a free advertisement the whole time. So if anybody's interested in real estate, you'll get like somebody coming over. And they were like, yeah, sure, go crazy with it. So it's kind of like, it's not any extra stuff for me to do, but it's something that can show what I'm doing. And it's also stuff that can get them it's more value that I'm bringing to the client without any more effort. And it's also showing what I could do editing wise. So it kind of helps me. So it's figuring out stuff like that doesn't take more paid time, and that maybe would lead to something else or someone else who can actually see what you're doing. And who knows? I mean, I seriously doubt a potential client would watch one of these videos of me working in Hindenburg on an intro and be like, wow, she's amazing the way she did that fade. But you never know, right?
Wouldn't that
I
be ideal?
Would that be so great? Like,
Yeah.
I'm mixing faces, screenshots, and DAWs. I mean, I haven't done a lot of them yet, but it's a combination. And I think that's a tiny bit different because a lot of people do just the DAW, or they'll do like a super in-depth explanation. Whereas for me, it's more of, it's like getting the voice out, like magnifying, like making sure like what I'm doing isn't heard, kind of thing. And I don't know that that's different enough, but I don't know. But like everything we do is different because we're us. So I think, Charles, get those places out there so people can see them and hire you for the stuff that feeds your soul too. It's hard. It's so hard. It's so hard.
It's the thing, like, because it all comes back to, doesn't it, essentially, right? How do you find clients? Where do you get them from? And all this, that, and the other. And you know, at the end of the day, there's so many different answers to that question. But you know, like you're saying, that it would be ideal if somebody was watching one of your YouTube tutorial videos, essentially, and then they turned around and went, yeah, I'll pay you to do mine. That looks great. You did that really well. I love it. But you know, that's kind of happened to me. Like, one of my main clients came through my own podcast that I have. My podcast isn't about podcasting. It's about sport. It's about my football club. And so a listener who works for this massive, massive company that threw all the pound signs at me came to me because of listening to that. So there's no reason why people wouldn't watch your video and then potentially go, yes, please.
Yeah.
No
And my before I even started doing this intentionally, my first 2 clients came because they saw me posting about podcasting on socials. I'm not sure that they were listening to my podcast, but they were following me and knew I was in podcasting. And they were like, hey, do you know anybody that edits? And then 2 years later, here I am. So you never know when you plant those seeds, you never know where it leads. But I think Andrew, you're probably going to finish this up for us because this is a nice bow that you did in the chat room. We are creative people, he says. Even if we don't think we are, we need to steal portfolio ideas. Oh, steal massage portfolio ideas from other mediums and see if we can adapt for our work. Yeah, for sure. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, we're only a hair over, which is miraculous considering how chatty we are, which is wonderful. So we talked about podcast editing values, training, and creativity. I mean, geez Louise, we've covered it all. Sorted. We never need to do this again. We'll do it again in 2 weeks, and that will be July 21st, 7 p.m. in Spain, which is 6 p.m. in London. And I'm going back to my 2 cities. I need to learn more cities, which is -6 is noon in New York, July 21st. That is a more North America, South America, Central America, central focused one. All right. Quick reminder, please, if you've made it to this point in the video, we love you to death, and please like and subscribe and hit the notifications button. Deanna, I did it. Anyway, if you want a YouTube consultant, by the way, I'd be more than happy to recommend my woman. She's my woman. She's not mine, but my consultant. She's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let's go around and remind people where they can find you. Becca.
Becca Johnson Media, BEKAHJOHNSON media.com.
Sam.
So you can find me at podcasteditor.pro.
Charles.
Oh, sorry. I was expecting more from Sam. Sorry. Just in the
Charles will
space.
see.
So easiest place to find me is on Twitter at Charles Commins or on LinkedIn, same. And my website, vibrantsoundmedia.com, or come along. I'm going to plug. Sorry, Steph. I'll get told off if I don't plug this. So I run a community for podcasters. So for people that run podcasts, they edit, they produce, they present, they do all of it. It's called Mike's Podcast Club, as in microphone, MIC Podcast Club. And you'll find it at meetup.com/MICPOD. Thank you.
Is that an online or an in-person event?
Yeah, we do both. So it's the second Wednesday of every month. We do an online version. This one, so it's next Wednesday, the 13th, 6 p.m. UK time. We're talking about how to ask your listener for money. So we're talking about Patreon and stuff like that. Andrew's in the community. He loves it. He comes along.
Can you send me the link to
that?
that? I want to put that in the show notes.
Of course I will.
Yes, thank you. That's awesome. I love varying communities. Yay! Okay, we did it. Yay. Okay, so Global Podcast Editors newsletter has all of the places that we exist in a bazillion different ways. So check the top of that newsletter for all of my information. And I also have an Instagram and Twitter if you want to see random pictures of coffee. And Valencia, you can check those as well as DAW pictures and different rantings about podcasting. I appreciate everybody who has made it to this point or any point in the video, although you wouldn't hear this if you didn't make it this far. But we're ignoring that because it's hot. Okay, thank you especially to Becca, Sam, and Charles for joining us this time. You're all welcome to come back. Every 3 months is about the thing that we're talking about for repeaters. Becca's comeback, which is awesome, blah, blah, blah. So feel free to sign up for any dates. Just send me an email and I don't need to record this part. Thank you, everybody. Hey, let's say goodbye. And this is also going to be a podcast. So please also say goodbye as you wave. Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Harmonious.
Thank you.